creep closer to the New York Giants against the New York Jets, I was very reflective last night, Tiki. As I was watching the Philadelphia Phillies get mowed down by Kevin Ginkel, I thought to myself, why? Why do I not share the confidence that many of my fellow Jet brethren have? Why don't I share the confidence of your guy, Brandon Tierney? Why don't I feel that way? Why am I not sitting here on a Wednesday beating my chest saying, me Jet fan, we dominate your asses? Why am I still that child that's afraid of my own shadow? So, Tiki, I made a list.
You have a list of why you feel this way.
Why am I so...
How long did you contemplate this?
I contemplated it for the entirety of that Phillies game last night. So it was about 3 hours of contemplating, and it came down to 4 things. 3 little tiny things and then 1 big thing.
Okay.
Any given Sunday. It's a cliche, but it's true. Like, you could sit here all day and tell me the Jets are better than the Giants, they're more talented than the Giants, this and that. I just witnessed the Minnesota Vikings basically kick the San Francisco 49ers' asses. We all know any given Sunday.
Especially the NFL this season.
100%. Number 2, this franchise. And when I say franchise, Tiki, I know it bothers you when I bring up things from 10 years ago. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring up just this year and last year.
Okay.
They have not done well with prosperity. When things have started to turn, they haven't always responded.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is when things have started to turn and go well, they haven't always responded by turning it into an advanced winning streak and turning it into something even bigger. And that certainly happened last year. You know, we saw it. The Jets had their best win of the year a year ago, right before the bye against the Buffalo Bills. We were all giddy. And they turned around, had a bye week, and then lost to the Patriots. Last year, they had that incredible comeback against the Cleveland Browns. What did they do? They came back the following week. They lost to the Bengals. This year, they get the great victory against the Buffalo Bills. Week 1, we're all giddy. How do they respond? They lose a bunch of games in a row. So prosperity in the Robert Saleh era has not been something they have done well with. And finally, have we forgotten that the quarterback is Zach Wilson?
Get off of Zach. Why are you so down on Zach? After a bye week, he went out to Utah, right? Hung out with his family.
Yeah.
He had
Well, no, he hung out with his girlfriend.
Okay, girlfriend.
Last year, he hung out with his family.
At his family's place, I think. I'm sure. Maybe he has his own place. I mean, he's a first-round draft pick. He definitely has his own place out there in BYU country.
Sorry, I just ripped the Band-Aid off. My apologies.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
So, Zach, while he's not great right now, he's the least of the worries for this team.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You think
because he's not a mistake-ridden quarterback. I think when quarterbacks are young, and I consider him he is only, 24 years old, you haven't quite accepted this yet, but this is a reset to your rookie season mindset for me as I look at him as he's developing. And, like, all the things that troubled him last year, which was not really having to work for the starting job, the turnovers, the cockiness, the bad teammate-ness that felt like it was permeating around him, all of that is gone. That's not the issue anymore for Zach Wilson. So I think you gotta get rid of the old narrative of Zach and realize that it's a different kid playing in a different system with a different set of support around him. I think that's most important with Zach.
Well, okay, a couple of things about that. I want to go back to the first thing you said. You said Zach Wilson is not their biggest issue or is the least of their issues. Is that how you phrased it?
No, he's just not. I don't want to say he's like a non-issue, but he's not an issue.
Correct. He's a non-issue when you're able to win around him. That's when he's a non-issue. So what I mean by that is when your defense is playing at a really high level and you run the football real well with Breece Hall and you don't need Zach Wilson to be Superman, you're 1,000% right. And that's why against the Philadelphia Eagles, he was a non-issue. You're right about that. You're right about that. But there are going to be games where you're going to need Zach Wilson to make plays. That has not happened yet. That game has not occurred yet. That game really didn't even happen last year when he was 5-1 as a starter going into the bye. And that's what's funny about it. Let's not forget that a year ago, between weeks 4 and 9, going into a bye week, kind of like this year, Zach Wilson made 6 starts. Do you remember what his record was in those 6 starts?
4-1?
5-1.
5-1.
5-1. He completed 59% of his passes. He threw 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He's just started 6 games this season. Really, he started 5 games this year, but has essentially played 6 games this year.
Yep.
Because of the Aaron Rodgers injury. They're 3-3. He's completed 60% of his passes. He's thrown the same amount of touchdowns, the same amount of picks. He's thrown for 100 less yards. He's taken 3 more sacks, and he's fumbled the ball 1 more time. Which means Zach Wilson has been the same guy he was prior to the bye a year ago.
So why are you worried about this?
Because
he went to the bye last year and came back, I think, ornery with the media when they asked him if he was at fault why they lost the New England Patriots game, which pissed off all of his teammates and forced Robert Saleh to bench him on Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it was, and then he didn't play again until Detroit, a game which the Jet fan was just waiting to boo him because they hadn't had a chance to boo him since he had gotten benched, right? Is that what you're expecting to happen?
No. My fear, it's not expecting. My fear is that last year coming out of the bye, much like this year coming out of the bye, Zach Wilson was playing reasonably well. And Zach Wilson has showed improvement this year. I don't deny that. And then he completely fell off the rooftop in that game against the Patriots. And yeah, he made some comments after the game. It caused him to get benched. Mike White mania started again. But let's not ignore the fact that over that 6-week stretch last year when he came back from his injury, he was playing very similarly to the way he's playing now.
So why do you think the same result is going to happen?
I'm not saying the same result's going to happen. I'm saying I don't fully trust him yet, and I can't imagine why any Jet fan would. Like, other than just wanting to have, like, blind hope and just hoping for the best, which we all try to do, he hasn't done enough yet for me to say, hey, I feel okay about the quarterback. The quarterback is not an issue. Yes, they've been able to hide him over the last few weeks and beat Philadelphia, where Zach was a non-factor, and beat Denver, where for the most part Zach was a non-factor. But for the most part, the progress he has shown, which is nice, and I admit, it's not him taking this giant step where he's winning games for them. So ultimately, if the New York Jets lose on Sunday to the Giants, and I ask you, how did it happen? Like, why'd they lose the game? Isn't it more likely than not that if we're sitting here on Monday talking about a Jet loss, we're probably bitching and moaning about Zach Wilson? Would you agree with that? Is that not the likeliest scenario on what happens if the Jets lose to the Giants on Sunday?
Probably, because even if he doesn't do something poorly or does something really bad, has an egregious error, it's going to be, well, the Giants bested the Jets defense and scored 2 touchdowns, and the Jets couldn't match it. So even if it's not him playing poorly, it will be he didn't get it done. Like, he didn't go above and beyond. He couldn't outplay Tyrod Taylor. Like, that's what it will come down to. Now, the problem is we've seen him outplay top quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor's not a top quarterback. In fact, he's a backup, but he's a good quarterback. You're not worried about him, similarly, making mistakes for the New York Giants. And if the Giants take the momentum from last week's second quarter, because that's really the only quarter where they did anything, and start scoring some points, then Zach's going to have to play, right? He's going to have to play some good ball.
Tiki,
and I trust that he's getting closer. Like, he still makes a lot of mistakes, but those mistakes they're not killing the Jets.
No, not yet. But if I ask you, and take the Giants aside for now, and we'll spend plenty of time on the Giant perspective, including a Daniel Jones update, but just forget about the opponent. Think about them playing just a nameless, faceless NFC West team and not the New York Giants. But a 2-5 team. Okay. But a team that has shown a little bit more promise over the last 2 weeks defensively. How do you envision the Jets losing this game? Like, think about that. Like, write me the script, realistic script, where the Jets lose this game.
I think Saquon breaks off a big run and has a great day rushing the ball.
Okay.
Because that's the weakness, statistically at least, of the New York Jets.
So how do the Jets lose? 14-10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A low scoring, we just, not making a ton of mistakes, we just couldn't get anything going.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is how the Giants like to play. They did it all last year, forced teams to get frustrated, kick field goals, go for it on 4th down, just outside the red zone, miss it, get turnover on down. Like, that's how the Giants won last year.
Right.
And I expect the same thing to continue this year as they've now found their stride a little bit.
I agree with you. If I was writing this horrible script, realistically, because I have confidence in this Jet defense, despite their struggles early in games and their struggles in opening drives, I would not come here and say the Jets are going to lose a game 35-7. Like, I don't see that happening.
No.
I believe in this defense. If they lose this game, it would be similar to the New England game. It would be a 15-10 rock fight. And that's what you said, too.
Yes.
Okay, so we agree.
Because I don't think the Giants are ready to score 30 points.
I agree. And nor do I think the Jet defense would allow 30 points, even if DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner don't play. We saw how well they played a week ago against Philadelphia. So we agree on that.
By the way, that's very confounding to me.
What are we talking about?
The concussion thing with both of those guys.
Yes, we'll get to that in a few minutes because that's also very interesting. But if we agree that the likeliest way they lose this game is a rock fight, in which defensively, they let up one big play, kind of like they did against New England.
Yeah.
And they lose 14-10. We are sitting here on Monday destroying an offense that doesn't get in the end zone enough. And if we're destroying an offense that doesn't get into the end zone enough, who are we mad at and who didn't play well enough?
I mean, it's probably Zach.
So then where am I wrong to say
but you also
that's the biggest thing that would lead to a loss on Sunday?
But so his lack of growth is the ultimate reason why you think the Jets will lose. You guess what?
No. I don't think the Jets will lose. My fear on how they would lose.
Yeah, same thing.
It's not the same thing.
is all because a young quarterback hasn't quite figured it out yet. And so, to me, this sounds like you're a Jet fan with heightened expectation is still hanging there, but you don't know how to get to that expectation anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you put the bar way up here, and all of a sudden you've shrunk, like you lost like 8 inches, and you're like, damn it, I can't reach that bar anymore. How the hell am I going to get there? Like, you still think that that's the bar you're supposed to be on, and you're trying to grab it like reaching and just jumping and grabbing it, and you just can't grab it anymore because you've shrunk. You lost Aaron Rodgers, right? And so
this has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers.
Of course it doesn't, because you have Zach Wilson, who's smaller than Aaron Rodgers, at least as far as creating success. And so now you're that little kid who saw his big brother, who was Aaron Rodgers, just easily grabbing that pull-up bar, pulling it up, doing the reverse, doing the one-handed, flipping over it. And now you're like, I just want to grab it. I just want to grab it. I just want to grab it. So you still have this like heightened expectation, this high bar, but you don't have the tools to get there. Right? That's how I'm reading this.
No, not at all. Here's how you should read it. Some will read it as Evans whining and hates Zach Wilson.
Oh, yeah,
which may be the case. I'm a baby. Or maybe it's, I don't trust Zach Wilson yet. I haven't seen enough. Okay, now, I give him credit for being better over the last 3 weeks. No question. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, hey, the way he played against Kansas City despite the fumble, the way he played against Denver and Philly, he has cut down on mistakes. And while he's not there yet, and he's still a bottom 5 quarterback in this league, I've seen progress than what I saw against the Patriots and the Cowboys and the end of last year. No question. But I don't know how any Jet fan could just turn a blind eye to his entire resume and just confidently say, well, if we lose, it won't be because of the quarterback. Like, I don't know how you could say that.
Because this is the NFL right now. This is the NFL. Everybody thinks that, we got our guy, we got our quarterback. This is the man. But most teams are exactly where you are. Chicago Bears, are you trusting a Bagent? What's his first name? Tyler Bagent, right? If you're the Green Bay Packers, are you trusting Jordan Love? Probably not. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, are you trusting Kenny Pickett? Or the Atlanta Falcons, are you trusting Desmond Ridder? The answer is no to all of those. By the way, the Falcons, they're sitting atop the division. So this is just the reality of the NFL. Hell, even the Giants. If he was healthy, are you trusting Daniel Jones? Right? That's like, this is the NFL. There's 2 quarterbacks you can trust, maybe 3. Pat Mahomes, I would say Josh Allen. I can't even say him anymore.
No, not anymore.
Right? Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Right? Who else can you trust?
Yeah, but that second tier of non-trust isn't just 28 quarterbacks that include Zach Wilson. Like, I'm sorry, I can't put Zach Wilson in the same league as Daniel Jones or even above that with Kirk Cousins. I can't do that.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you had a threat to my head, and I want to use the analogy that everybody used, a threat to my head, and you said, do you want Zach Wilson or would you rather have Russell Wilson? I probably would say Zach Wilson. I'm just because that's the point with quarterbacks. I don't trust many of them, even the ones that have been good in the past.
Right.
The NFL is weird this year, and I don't know if it's the old guys aging out and the young guys not having enough experience or wherewithal or whatever, moxie to get it done. It's what you're feeling is what I think every team in the NFL feels, except for the Kansas City Chiefs and probably the Baltimore Ravens.
That's too extreme, though, because now you're saying if you're a Viking fan, you trust Kirk Cousins the same amount as you would trust Zach Wilson.
Do you think Vikings fans trust Kirk Cousins?
Maybe not, but not to the extent that we shouldn't trust Zach Wilson.
He'll throw for 370 yards, but they don't trust him. It's a different level.
But that's my point.
Right? Do you think that San Francisco 49ers fans at this juncture trust Brock Purdy?
No, but It's on a different level than the lack of trust in Zach.
But it's all the same.
It's not, though.
It is.
The reality is, when the Jets win football games like they have over the last 2 games, they're going to do it because they run the football well, the quarterback avoids mistakes, and the defense, especially in the second half, locks you down. That's the formula. That's the formula. But what if there is a game in which there is no run game? What if there is a game where Zach does make a mistake? Because even some of the best make mistakes. Is the margin of error too small that that's going to cost you a game? Is there ever going to be a game that they play where Zach Wilson just needs to be the man and he steps up and they win because of the quarterback? That game hasn't occurred yet. And so when you ask me, why are you nervous about the Giants? The Jets are a better team. Why are you nervous? And I try to beat my brain on why, and a lot of it's the scars of being a Jet fan, I admit. A lot of it's the scars of not trusting this team in general and this head coach. But a lot of it is I still don't trust Zach. And I apologize if you sitting out there think that means I'm a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm calling it like I see it. I don't think he's that good. And I think if there's ever a game where they need to trust him to make plays to win a football game, that's not going to happen. And that's not being a hater. It's not even being negative. It's me honestly looking at the team I love so much and saying, hey, this is why this worries me. This is why I can't yet on Wednesday beat my chest, call Sean mean names, and say we're going to see you in a thong on Monday because you made a bet with the world that you're going to lose.
Is Andrew Thomas playing?
Looks that way.
He's practicing.
It looks that way. Freddie and Whitestone. What, Freddie? You mad at me?
Hey, Evan.
Yeah. What? You there? All right, goodbye, Freddie. He was mad at me, but now he's gone. Good.
He was so mad he just said, hey, Evan, and hung up.
Let's go to Sonny in Malvern. Sonny.
What up, Sonny?
Hey, guys. Evan, I'm not mad at you, but it's just like every day you come on and you're killing Zach Wilson. Imagine, Evan, if 80,000 fans were at that stadium, they were like you, and you're just waiting for him to throw an interception so you can boo him. You can't. You got
No, that's first of all, you're wrong about 2 things, Sonny. Number one, I haven't killed Zach Wilson in about a week and a half. All right, I've taken a nice break.
Week. Guess what?
Yeah.
He didn't have a game last
Exactly. He had a bye week. It's been a good week and a half since I ripped him. And number 2, that is so wrong that you think fans, myself included, sit there waiting for failure. No, I'm worried about failure. I'm expecting failure. But that doesn't mean I'm sitting there like my hands together like, yeah, Zach's going to screw up and I'm going to boo him and tell everybody they're idiots. No, I want the guy to be great. I'm just not ready to trust him yet. So when you ask a Jet fan who isn't confident going into Sunday, and there are more than a few, all right? Don't judge, as Sean likes to do, based on the young people that tweet at him as that represents every Jet fan. There are plenty of Jet fans who are worried about Sunday's game. And you ask them, why are you worried? To my fellow Jet fan, why are you worried about Sunday? Maybe it's a non-football reason. Maybe it's the fact that you've got obnoxious Giant fan friends, and you're just worried that, hey, it's any given Sunday, we lose to this team, I ain't going to hear the end of it.
Well, at least not for 4 years.
Right.
Unless they both meet in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's not happening.
As long as my contract lasts, I can hear the end of it.
So you ask why. My why kind of gets led in bold by a quarterback that I don't hate. I don't hate Zach Wilson.
You don't hate him, but you're a hater.
I don't trust Zach Wilson.
You don't hate him, but you're a hater. I just summed it up for everybody out there who wants to call Evan and scream at him.
I'm not a hater. What'd you say?
You don't hate him. You're just a hater.
I don't hate him. You're just a hater.
Zach Wilson's not good.
Look, he loves playing that drop.
All I'm saying, Evan, is that every team, almost every team in the NFL, could say the exact same thing.